Okay, in my last class, I had completed my discussion on the internal structure and composition of the Earth and also the physical properties. So in this class, we should start our discussion. Actually, I had to start off with this itself, but I'm taking this now, the application of earth sciences in civil engineering practices. So that is a very first topic in your first module, application of earth sciences in the civil engineering practices. Okay, is the PPT visible? Is the PPT visible?
Sir,
Yes,
visible.
sir.
Okay, fine. So this is the introduction to earth sciences, that is your geology. So what is geology? Geology is a branch of natural science which deals with the study of the earth and its components. So not only the earth but also its components, the total study of earth and its components, that science is called as geology. Okay, the study of geology is also called as earth sciences. So in order to study the earth in detail, see, whenever you have to study the earth in detail, you have got different branches. Like in civil engineering, you have got different branches. Like you have got strength of materials, you have got applied hydraulics, you have got fluid mechanics, you have got geology. Similarly, even geology science also has been divided into a number of other branches also. Okay, so those branches, which in where we are going to study the earth in detail, it is for the convenience that we can study the earth into different aspects. Okay, it is for our convenience that we have made in different branches, because you have to understand the earth and its whole components, so you not be able to understand it in within a single component. But if it is on a whole component, then you can definitely see what sort of the earth can be present. Okay, like the earth, for example, if it is got into other components also, then you can see how exactly the earth components has been formed. Okay, now the various branches includes the mineralogy, the study of the minerals, the petrology, the study of the rocks, the structural geology, study of the structures of the different rock types. There may be some faults, there may be some folds or anything like that. The aspects which deals with the study of the deformation of the rocks, the deformation of the rocks due to various tectonic forces, like the earthquake waves. As I told you, the earthquake waves induce lot of tectonic forces, wherein the rocks get deformed or changed their external appearances. Okay, such external appearances are being changed is called as a structural geology. Okay, so that aspects deals with the structural geology. Next is your engineering geology. The engineering geology is nothing but study of the engineering concepts. Now what you people are studying, they are all defined under the engineering geology itself. Okay, so then the very important one is the mining geology. So this is a very important concept in today's field, because mining is one operation wherein a lot of the minerals and ores are being excavated. Through mining itself, precious metals, ores, and also the minerals that is required by human beings are being excavated or extracted from the earth's crust. So such feature wherein the economic minerals or the precious metals, the ores are being removed from the earth's crust, process is called as a mining. Okay, it's an art, it's a science of extraction of the precious metals and the metals and the ores from the earth's crust. Okay, and that science which deals with the study of the mining itself is called as a mining geology. So I have got an engineering aspect also called as mining engineering itself, wherein the engineers, like civil engineering also, there is a field of engineering called mining engineering, wherein people study the different concepts of mining, in different types of mining, different forms of mining, and also where exactly the mining should be done, how exactly the mining should be adopted, what are the different instruments, or what are the different equipments that are being used in the mining. So next is economic geology. Now, what is this economic geology? Economic geology is that branch of geology which deals with the study of the economic metals. Now, economic metal, gold is economic metal, silver is economic metal, platinum is economic metal, copper is a metal, economic metal, iron is economic metal. So your manganese, magnesium, all these are the economic metals, okay, which are used to improve the economy of the nation. So those metals which are used to improve the economy of the nation is called as a economic geology. Okay, so the economic geology, for every time you purchase gold, then certain amount of tax is being paid to the government. Okay, and also for the removal of the ore from the earth's crust, royalty has to be paid, that is tax has to be paid for the government. Okay, whenever the extractor or the miner starts his mining operations or begins his mining operations, for every ton of ore he has to pay some amount of the tax in the form of royalty to the government. Okay, so thereby the nation's economy starts to increase. So this is called as a economic geology. That is your economic. The economics is always a very important aspect. Okay, so that's why economic geology is also a very important issue. So then coming to stratigraphy, what is stratigraphy? Actually, stratigraphy is nothing but the study of the earth's layers of the earth. The earth has been formed different 4.6 billion years ago, or 4,600 million years ago. So through ancient times, there are different layers of the earth that are being formed, and also within those layers, different sorts of fossils are being embedded. Fossil, what is a fossil? It is the animal or plant remains that are being buried deeper in the earth's crust. Okay, that are buried within the deeper in the earth's crust is called as a fossils. So those plant remains or animal remains which are very helpful in understanding the past of the earth. Okay, what were the animals that were present on the earth? Now, how exactly? Some people say that dinosaurs were ruling on the earth. How did people come to know that there was an animal called dinosaurs? It was only through the fossils, that is their animal remains, the bones that were available in the deeper forests of the Amazon and the other parts. So they brought them and they joined them together and gave a name of the animals. Okay, so the study of the fossils is a very important part in the stratigraphy. That is through the study of the layers of the earth. The evolution of the earth. That is only the internal surface structure, not only the internal structure, but also the external morphology of the earth is also being changing from time to time. So that's why this stratigraphy always helps to understand the deeper concerns of the earth changing. Okay, so next is your photogeology. Photogeology is nothing but the study of the photogrammetry, that is measurement of the earth through photographs. Photographs are being taken satellite images. Nowadays, satellite images are being taken in order to understand the dynamics of the Earth and also the weather forecasting. Many meteorological changes and every aspects are being studied using your satellite images. Okay, so this prior to satellite images, there was something called as photogeology. This photogeology came into evolution during the Second World War, when Hitler was the first person who used this photogeology or photogrammetry. He During the Second World War, what he did was he had to invade Poland. In order to invade Poland, he had to send his troops or army into the attack. So what he thought was, if my army will move at certain space, or what is the movement required by the army to proceed forward and to attack the Poland. Okay, so now in this many days, if I cover this much area, then how many days is required for me to cover the entire Poland? This was how he thought, and he started to use the photogrammetry. Okay, he was the first person, Hitler was the first person to use this photogrammetry to a very good extent. He took the aerial photographs, he gave it to these army people and said he ordered his people or his military troops to invade Poland, and that was how he was succeeded. Okay, next is the physical geology. Physical geology is nothing but study of the different layers of the formation of the earth. That is, you know that the earth has got different modes, like your wind, you got water, you have got the air, and you have got the other sources also. Okay, so the changes that occur on the level of the earth, there is mountains, there is valleys, the rivers run, the river courses changes, all these things. Okay, so these aspects are being studied in the physical geology. Okay, so these aspects are being studied in the physical geology. And next is the hydrology. Hydrology is nothing but the study of water resources. Hydrology is nothing but the study of the water resources. Now, why should we have a brief understanding of water? Because water is a very essential part of the human civilization. Okay, wherever the ancient civilization of the India, like the Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, they were actually settled near the Indus River itself. The civilization, ancient civilization, wherever you take, wherever you go, they all were settled near the rivers, valleys itself. You can see the Egyptian civilization, which was settled near the Nile River. Is it not? The Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, they were settled near the water, that is your Indus River, that is your Punjab, very sources of the 5 rivers where they flow, Indus River. So our ancient nomadic man knew the importance of water, because water was the very first important material that was required for your civilization and also for your survival, apart from air. Okay, apart from air, the foremost important material that was required by human beings is the water. Okay, you cannot sustain without water, and you can also sustain without the air. Just like you cannot sustain without air, so also you cannot sustain without water also. So water, that the initial days there were a lot of surface waters that were available in the earth. There were a lot of surface water. Now, for example, in Bangalore itself, there were somewhere around 15 to 20 lakes that were available in Bangalore city. Entire Bangalore city was once covered with lot of lakes. That's why it was called as a garden city. Okay, now hardly 3 or 4 lakes are being present. Hardly 3 or 4. Matter of 4 or 5 lakes may be present in the Bangalore city. Other lakes are being converted into lands. Okay, they have made the landfills, and also they have constructed the buildings. So what happens? Obviously, water always passes through its area. So what happened? Floods are a quite common features that are being present within your Bengaluru city. Why? Because they have occupied the land area, the water area. Okay, so that's why hydrology is a very important aspect. Now, hydrology, different forms of hydrology is being, the groundwater hydrology is a very important surface feature. Surface hydrology is also another important issue, and also got the groundwater movement, the fluid mechanics. Okay, So all these aspects of study of the water resources are being covered under the hydrology. Okay, so these are the different branches of geology which are being used for the separation of the earth sciences. Okay, a person who is interested in study of minerals is you always used to study the mineralogy. A person who is interested in study of the rocks is always called as a petrologist. Okay, a person who studies the structural features aspects of the rocks is called as a structural geologist. Engineering geology, like tunnels and other places where people usually work, is called as an engineering geologist. A person concerned with the mining is called as a mining geologist. A person who is concerned with these economic aspects of this minerals and ores is called as economic geologist. So a person who studies the layers of the earth and interpret the fossils that are available is called as a stratigraphist. Who studies the photogrammetry aspects of the earth is called as photogeologist. One who studies the physical aspects of the earth is called as physical geologist, and a person who studies the water resources are called as a hydrogeologist. Okay, so now what are the practical applications of the civil engineering aspects, earth sciences and civil engineering practices? So these are the practical explorations or the practical appearances or applications of earth sciences in civil engineering practices. First is the mapping. So now what is a mapping? So what happens is engineering geologist has to prepare a geological map of that area based on the aerial photography and the satellite imagery that is being available to him, and also the field observations. Okay, subsurface geological features are also being mapped. What happens is, India map. How do you know that is a map of India? People like the surveyors go and survey the area and prepare a topological map. Similarly, engineering geologist also will prepare a geological map of a area based on his field interpretation, field observation, and also the aerial photos that is being available to him, and also the satellite imageries that is available to him. Okay, now what are the rock types that are being present in that area? What are the different minerals and ores that are being present in that area? And also, what are the different types of the structural features, that is the deformation aspects that the rock has undergone? What are the structural deformations that as the rock has been underwent? And also, what are the different types of the precious metals that are being available in the area? All these things will be mapped. Okay, such mapping are also called as one of the important concept of the engineering geologist. Okay, next is the exploration. Now what is exploration? Exploration means you are going to explore a area based on the certain exploration techniques. Okay, now before you enter into the field, you will have to plan what are the stages that are being available to you. Okay, there is something called planning. Okay, without planning you cannot enter the field. Okay, planning means you are going to have a detailed information of that area, like in the form of records, that is in the form of books, any records or anything like that. Somebody would have written something about that area. Okay, you will take the piece of the paper and you will study what amount of information is available to you in that book. Okay, some may say that there may be gold deposit being present, some may say that some iron deposit may be present in that area. So you exactly don't know where exactly the gold deposit or the iron deposit is being present, but still people older records suggest that there is a ancient mining activity that was undergone. Okay. Now, for example, in Bhadravati, if you go towards Bhadra Reservoir project, that is BRP, on the bay, you will get a place called Gondi, wherein ancient gold deposit is being present. Okay. Ancient Britishers had been explored that area, and certain shafts have been removed. Okay. Gold was being mined over there. But how exactly you know that? It is only through the records. Okay. Now, you cannot just go and simply go into the exploration. You will take the record, you will study it, and you will understand what sorts of mining activity had been taken place, and then you will go for a further exploration. Okay, so exploration is the study of the ancient records, and also you are going to explore the new area, whether the gold is still being present in that area. All these things based on the physical and the field study. Okay, so then is project planning. You are going to plan a project is a very important aspect for the civil engineering. Okay, you have to plan at various stages. Okay, you have to plan the feasibility, the developmental parameter reports, which is used for a project schedule. Okay, Next is your surface water. Surface water is also very important now. Why? Because surface water is a one which is used by both the human beings as well as animals also. Okay, both human beings and animals use this surface water. Okay, so now you have to have a very basic understanding of how much the rainfall is being present on that area, what is the total amount of volume of the rainfall, what amount of water is being infiltrated into the rock type or the ground, what amount of water will be infiltrated, what amount of water will be runoff on the surface of the area, what are the rock types present in there, whether it is igneous rock, sedimentary rocks, or metamorphic rocks, what is the drainage characteristics, basin characteristics, what are the process that are involved in that basin, what are the weathered areas, what is the silting potential, what is the erosion potential, which are also estimated before planning any hydraulic structure in the basin. So before you construct any dam or any reservoir, all these things should be taken into consideration. All these things should be taken into account. Now, if I say we have to build a dam near in front of JNNC, is it possible? No, because there is no water source that is being available. Okay, if anybody proposes a project site to build a dam in front of JNNC, then it is a very foolish thing, because there is no water surface at all. Okay, now you have to identify exact location where the water body is being present, where the dam can be built, where the reservoir can be built. Before you start building them, you have to have what is the surface water, that is what is the amount of rainfall that falls in that area, what is the amount of water that goes or proceeds into the earth in the form of infiltration. Not all the ground water, rainfall water that falls on the earth will be infiltrated. Some of them will be infiltrated until the saturation of the earth takes place. Then the remaining water will be run off. Okay, what is the amount of water that will be run off? Okay, what is the total drainage basin characteristics? What is the weathering area? How much amount of weathering is being present in that area? What is the silting potential? What is the amount of silt that can be produced in that area? And what is the amount of erosion that is being present in that area? Many times what happens is, whenever the water flows, some amount of materials is also being removed with it. Okay, so all these things has to be seen by a surface engineering geologist, surface water engineering geologist. Next is the groundwater. See, groundwater is one of the major problem in the majority of today's civil engineering works. Okay, so this is a very important aspect, because sometimes you go for the foundation. Whenever the foundation is being done, lot amount of seepage water will be coming out from the surface of the earth, interior part of the earth. So you have to understand what is in detail the occurrence and movement of the groundwater, the controls of the structural controls of the groundwater, what are the hydrogeological properties of the rocks, and also using the hydrogeological properties of the rocks like the porosity, permeability, and all these things, you have to prepare the hydrogeological maps which suits for civil engineering purposes. Okay, so the occurrence of the groundwater, the movement of the groundwater, all these things should be understood by the engineering groundwater geologist. Okay, so he has to understand all these things. What is the occurrence of the groundwater? What are the movements of the groundwater? What are the controls that regulate the movement of the groundwater? All these things should be understood. Okay, so groundwater is also very important issue. Nowadays, what happens is, in Malnad, places of Malnad, in parts of Shivaga and Bhadravati, and in parts of Malnad, if you drill around 150-200 feet, you could have expected groundwater. But today it is not that case. Even in Malnad, if you go for around 500 to 600 feet, you have to go minimum of 500 feet to get groundwater, because the groundwater level is being depleted. Once a time in Bengaluru, in the year 1980s to 1990s, the groundwater level was somewhere around 500 to 400 feet. Only just for 400 to 500 feet, you could have expected the groundwater to occur. Okay, now what has happened in Bengaluru? Even if you drill for 2000 feet, you may not expect the groundwater, because the groundwater level has almost depleted in parts of Bengaluru. Okay, because the rate of infiltration has decreased because of the white topping and other things. Okay, so the infiltration has decreased so as to the groundwater levels has also preceded down. Okay, so that's why groundwater rejuvenation is one of the very most important concept and the very most important activity that is taking place in India now. You might have heard Narendra Modi sir, the Prime Minister of India, Shri Honorable Narendra Modi has stressed on this groundwater rejuvenation, building of the groundwater structures which inhibits the rejuvenation of the groundwater. Okay, so the groundwater levels has depleted, so we has to bring up the groundwater levels. So that's why they say that the groundwater study is of most importance. Okay, so then so so the next concept is slope stability. Next is the slope stability. What is a slope stability? You know, sometimes the landslides. Now, in parts of the Western Ghats, you know, the Konkan railways, always during the rainfall, in the parts of the Kodagu and other places, you can see this rainfall causes the slopes to slide down. Okay, very recently, you might have heard a person of the who was doing the rituals in Kerala, the Kaveri got floated away in the landslide. Okay, so this slope study is also stability is also being required to study. Okay, so then coming to the important aspect of the geological structures, as I already stated that the subsurface studies all these things, the materials, the foundation materials which are required is always studied. What is the geological structure that is present in that area, what are the type of rock types, whether the igneous rocks, whether sediment rocks, or whether metamorphic rocks are being present in that area. All these things are being studied in detail in the geological structures. And finally is your tunneling. So what is tunneling? You know, tunneling is a opening. Tunnel is opening which has got opening at both the sides. Okay, tunnel is a place where it has got opening on both the sides. Okay, both the sides you get the opening. So that tunneling is required because sometimes the tunnel itself is a mode of water transport, and sometimes tunnel plays an important place where two cities are being joined together, connected together. Okay, so for example, Western Ghats in the Konkan railways, you know that Bombay and Goa is being connected by these tunnels itself. So it acts as a bridge to connect the two cities. So tunneling is also very important because a civil engineer and a geologist has to conduct the studies and the estimation of the weathered rock, the zone of thickness, the what is the amount of weathered rock that is being available, what is the depth of the hard rock, what are the structural features that are being present, the faults, faults, all these things has to be studied. And finally is the earthquakes. As you know, earthquakes are very important aspect because earthquake which causes has got a lot of demolition and the impact on the surface of the earth. You have to have a very good record of the earthquake waves. So once you have got a very good understanding of the earthquake waves, then you will be able to understand what are the surface features. Okay, so these are the very important points of the study of the importance of the engineering practices. So that is why civil engineer always needs to require to work in these issues. Now, is there any questions? If you have got any questions, you can ask me now. Okay, from next tomorrow we shall continue discussion. And also now one more important announcement is that you have to log in within time. So from tomorrow, who all will not log in until I will wait until 11:20 or 12:10. Okay. If I got class at 12 o'clock, then 12:05 is the last time. If anybody logins beyond 12:05, I may not be able to log in you, admit you people. Okay. So with this, if you have got any questions, you can ask me at any point of time. We shall continue discussion in this class. Thank you.